This is Hal Kensington, broadcasting on 98.7 FM out of what's left of Hastings Ridge, Missouri. The time doesn't matter anymore, but if you're tracking it, it's sometime after 4 a.m. The clocks all blink 12:00 in here, the digital ones at least. The old wind-up I keep on the shelf still ticks, a little slow but steady, like a heartbeat that refuses to quit. I'm running on backup diesel, wired into a manual relay tower that my father helped weld into the ridge in '84. That thing used to be part of a Cold War civil defense project they scrapped when everyone decided nuclear winter was less interesting than stock market numbers. Now it's just me and this mic, and maybe you, if you're still out there with a working hand crank radio and something dry to sit on. Subscribe for more stories and support the production of this broadcast. It's quiet now. Not the good kind of quiet, the kind you get in the woods before dawn, where the silence holds its breath waiting for the birds to start. Number. This silence has teeth. This silence feels abandoned. Like even the wind decided to pack up and leave when it saw what was coming. 3 days ago, people vanished. Just like that. No smoke, no sound, no flash of light. 1 minute they were pushing carts in the Walmart checkout line, and the next minute, there was a pile of clothes on the floor where they'd been standing. Some still warm, some still buzzing with static from a dropped phone. My neighbor's wife was watering the garden. I saw her from my window. I turned to grab my coffee, and when I looked back, the hose was thrashing like a live wire on the ground, spraying into the sky. Her boots were still there in the dirt. She was gone. She never screamed. Didn't even look up. I thought it was a seizure, or stroke, something explainable. Then my phone started pinging. Missing person alerts. Dozens. Then hundreds. Social feeds filled with videos. People filming their friends 1 second, and the camera dropping mid-laugh as their best friend disappeared right beside them. No blur, no sound, just nothing. Then the networks began cutting out. Not all at once. First the big ones. AT&T, Verizon, Starlink flickered. Emergency services tried to reroute through local repeaters. That lasted about an hour before they dropped into silence too. And now we've got nothing but static and whispers. Sometimes the static sounds like breathing. Sometimes, when you tune between 40 and 60 megahertz, it sounds like someone's crying. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's a weapon or a signal, or God finally closing up shop. But I do know this. This has happened before. Not to me. I was born in 1989, but my grandfather kept a log, a spiral-bound journal he kept in his workshop, mostly filled with sketches of wind turbines and soil charts and ham radio notes. But on the last few pages, he wrote something in pencil, faint and smudged. It said, August 10th, 1979, 1:12 p.m. They vanished again. Same as before, clothes left behind. No sound, only the dogs noticed. They howled for hours. There's more, I'll read it later. But he mentioned a cycle, 23 years, give or take a few days. He said the disappearances always started small, a few dozen, then a few thousand, then millions, until the cities felt hollow, like the buildings were holding their breath, waiting to be forgotten. He died in 2002. The year the last one hit. I didn't notice anything then. Maybe I was too young. Or maybe I was lucky. But this time it's here. It's real. And it's spreading fast. The roads are jammed. Not with cars driving, but with the ones that were left idling, running until the gas ran dry. Doors open, headlights still on. Some have baby seats in the back. Some have meals still warm in the passenger seat, and no one inside. It looks like rapture, but with no sense, no reason. It took kids, and it took the old. It took doctors mid-surgery, and people sleeping in their beds. It didn't care what you believed or what language you spoke. We lost contact with Kansas City yesterday afternoon. Springfield went dark last night. We haven't heard from St. Louis in almost 18 hours. I tried calling the old NOAA station up in Jefferson Bluff. All I got was silence. No tone. No voicemail. Just nothing. Like the wires themselves had been cut from the world. And then the animals started acting strange. The birds stopped flying. They're just perched in trees, motionless, even when you walk right beneath them. Deer are wandering into gas stations and not running when people shout. Dogs are howling nonstop, like they're trying to dig through the earth to follow someone down. Something is wrong with the sun, too. It's slower. Or maybe it just looks like it. The shadows don't move like they used to. They stretch too long, and sometimes they don't match the shapes that cast them. I watched my own shadow twist backward against the wall 2 hours ago. I haven't stood up since. I don't know what's causing this, but something's pulling us out of time, or out of place, or maybe both. And we're not being warned, we're just being erased. I've been digging through the old station logs from back when this place was active in the 70s. There's mention of Project Anchorfall, some kind of civil signal shield developed for broadcast blackout scenarios. The note said it was mothballed after the 1979 incident, but that the relay tower might still pick up passive frequencies if manually tuned. That's what I'm trying now. I've got it locked to 27.515 megahertz, upper sideband. If you're out there, try to listen. I don't know if you can reply, but if you're near an SSB-capable radio, just be near it. Maybe you'll hear something I missed. I haven't slept in 2 days. My hands are shaking. My mouth tastes like rust, and I think the air here's starting to thin. Not because of pressure, but something's different. It feels thick, wet almost, like standing in a flooded basement. People are afraid to sleep now. They think if they close their eyes, they'll disappear too. There's talk about how it chooses you. Maybe it's sound, or memories. Maybe the people who think too much about the ones already gone are more likely to go next. Maybe I've already thought too much. I'll keep broadcasting for as long as the diesel holds. I've got 2 drums left. That's about 30 hours if I keep it low power. After that, it'll just be me and silence. If you're out there, if you hear this, write down what you see. Keep notes. Keep your memory intact. If this thing's pulling us apart, maybe words are the only things it can't take. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, The Ridge, holding on. It's still dark outside, or maybe the sun came up and just didn't make it this far. I stepped out of the station an hour ago, just to stretch my legs, just to feel something that wasn't metal or static. The air, it's heavy, like it's leaning in on you, like walking through smoke without the smell. No wind, no birds, just stillness. There's a field next to the tower. Used to be soybeans before the farmer packed up and moved south last year. Now it's just brittle stalks and a rusted-out tractor, half sunk into the dirt. When I walked past it, I saw footprints leading into the field. Bare feet, small ones. They go out about 50 yards. Then they stop, No turnaround, no drag, no body. Just nothing. I don't even know why I'm still counting these things. Maybe it's some part of my brain that needs patterns, needs to make sense of how something can start and not end. But we're not in that world anymore. The world where A leads to B, where you can fix a problem by following the manual. Now, there's no manual, just noise. I tried calling my sister again. Her number rings twice and cuts. That's new. Yesterday, it went straight to voicemail. This morning, it rang. That means something's connecting. Somewhere. For a second. The last time we talked, she said the streetlights outside her apartment were flickering in Morse code. She said it wasn't just random. She said it spelled words. She wrote one down before the lights blew out. Beneath. That was in Spokane. I've heard nothing from that area since. Something is moving underground. I don't mean people. I don't mean military convoys. I mean deep, under the ground. You can feel it if you sit still long enough. A low hum, right in your chest cavity, like a freight train passing a few miles beneath your feet. It comes and goes, always at the same time. 4:03 a.m. I've checked it 3 nights in a row. Exactly 4:03. That can't be chance. I found an old frequency guide in the back of the station. It's from 1998, laminated and yellowed. There's a band marked inactive between 41 and 43 megahertz. It's handwritten, not printed. Just one note. Do not monitor. Reverse bleed confirmed. I ignored that advice. Tuned it in last night. The sound was wrong. Not static. Not voices. Just a low, wet sound. Like something dragging a chain through mud. You could hear it scrape. You could feel it in your teeth. It lasted 27 seconds. Then silence. Then the tower fuse popped. Fried the backup inverter. I'm running on a bypass now. If that blows too, I'll lose the transmitter for good. And here's the part that really rattled me. Right before it cut, there was a voice. Clear. Sharp. Not radio modulation. Not distortion. It said, 23 down. 1 to wake. I've got no idea what that means. But it didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like a countdown. I've heard theories. The ones that are still bouncing around what's left of the internet. Scraps of forums. Handwritten notes passed around truck stops. Some think it's dimensional. That the disappearances are a thinning. Like the barrier between layers is wearing down. Others say it's a recall. That we're prototypes. That whoever made us is collecting the early models. I can't believe I just said that out loud. But there are signs. Little things that don't add up. Like how every clock eventually resets to 12:00. Even the analog ones. I watched a wind-up wall clock spin itself backward until the minute hand snapped off. There are people who still refuse to accept what's happening. I saw a guy in the next town over sitting on a lawn chair in front of a Best Buy, waiting for the power to come back so he could buy a new charger. He didn't even look up when the sirens started going off in the distance. Denial's a hell of a drug, but there are also those who are paying attention. The old man down by the river, George Miller. He used to be a seismologist back in the 70s, retired after the last sinkhole incident upstate. He walked into the station yesterday, said he'd been recording strange tremors in the bedrock for months. Not quakes, not natural movement, rhythmic pulses. He said, "It's like something breathing down there, Hal. Something big." I asked him how deep. He just looked at me and said, "Too deep to dig, not too deep to rise." He left me a stack of charts. I'll go through them later. I keep expecting the government to say something. Anything. FEMA, CDC, hell, even the damn FAA. But there's nothing. Not even a broadcast loop. That's when I knew it was serious. When even the automatic system stopped repeating. You remember those robotic voices after 9/11? Or the amber alerts during wildfires? All gone. Like the programs themselves were erased. There's a name I found scribbled in the margin of one of the station logs. A name that doesn't appear anywhere else in the system. Dr. Lisette Rowe. No title. No location. Just the phrase, "She knew. She warned us." I've been scanning old archived HAM boards and survivalist BBS logs. Found one reference on a 1995 post about solar radiation anomalies. A user named Row L posted a warning. Every 23 years. Biological resonance. Prepare for node dissolution. It was flagged as spam. I don't think it was. The older I get, the more I realize how many warnings we threw away because they were inconvenient, because they didn't fit the narrative, because it was easier to call someone crazy than admit the floor beneath your feet is paper thin. It's getting colder now. Unseasonably so. We're in mid-August, and I can see my breath. The sun doesn't warm things anymore. It just hangs there, pale, like a light bulb about to burn out. I watched the grass freeze this morning. No frost, no dew, just this sudden, instant whitening, like the heat got pulled out of the air in a single breath. And something else. I saw movement in the tree line, not animals, not people. The shape was too tall, too narrow, and it didn't move like anything alive. It just stood there, watching. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes, and when I finally blinked, it was gone. Or maybe I just stopped seeing it. I don't know how long I can keep this up. But if someone's listening, I want this recorded. I want it known that we tried. We noticed. We wrote it down. We didn't all look away. There's something wrong with the world. Not just here. Not just now. At its core. Like a film that's begun to peel away from the projector wheel. And we're falling through the gap. I'll stay on the air as long as I can. You're not alone. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, broadcasting from the edge. I tried sleeping an hour ago. Thought maybe if I just shut my eyes for 20 minutes, I could reset, pull myself back into something like normal. But the moment I closed them, I heard it again. That sound. It wasn't in the room. It wasn't coming from outside. It was inside my head. Not like a thought. Not like a dream. A tone. Low. Pulsing. Like a single piano key being pressed underwater. Over and over. Except it wasn't even sound. It was pressure. Like my brain was being tuned, and the rest of me was just waiting to follow. I jolted awake and vomited on the floor. It smelled like metal, old rusty metal and mold. And I swear, for a second, everything was dimmer, like someone had turned the contrast down on reality. Something is trying to reach into us, not to speak, not to invade, to pull, to rewire. I don't know if it's technology. I don't know if it's biological. But it's precise, cold, familiar somehow. I dug up more of my grandfather's journals, found one page folded into the back of a repair manual for a GE signal booster. The ink had faded, but I could still read it. He wrote, "They took 41 from Elm Creek. First wave. Nobody remembered them, not even their families. It's the forgetting that kills you. They erase memory first, then sound, then light. I read that 5 times, trying to make sense of it. And now I can't remember who lived in the blue house 2 doors down. I know someone did. I've seen them mowing the lawn. I waved. We talked once about something mundane, but I can't see their face. Can't remember their name. Can't even tell you if it was a man or woman. And here's the terrifying part. No one else remembers either. I called Tom Renshaw, the mechanic who lives on the next street. Asked him if he remembered who lived in that house. He paused, long, then said, "There's no house there, Hal. That lot's been empty since the fire." There was no fire. I walked past that house 2 days ago. There was a swing on the porch. It moved by itself. It was yellow. But when I drove by this morning, he was right. It's an empty lot. Dry weeds. A cracked foundation. Like nothing had ever stood there. The world is folding in on itself, and we don't even feel the edges curling. I'm sorry if this sounds frantic, disjointed. I've been pacing, talking into this mic like it's a lifeline. Because maybe it is. Maybe the act of broadcasting keeps me anchored. Maybe as long as my voice is out there, I still exist. The lights flickered 10 minutes ago. The generator coughed twice and almost stalled. I had to tap the fuel regulator with a wrench to keep the flow steady. If I lose power, I'll try switching to the old hand crank unit. It won't reach far, but it might carry through the valley. If you're on the edge of signal range and hearing this through static, stay close. Don't move far from your receiver. These waves are thin, fragile, but they still carry something real. I read an old Navy report once, classified until the 90s, about sound experiments in the Mariana Trench. They dropped a transmitter below 30,000 feet. It was supposed to send out sonar pulses and return data about seabed shape. Instead, it recorded a single word, human voice. No modulation, no distortion. Return. They shut the project down the next day. There are things deep in this world we were never meant to wake. And now something is reaching up. Or maybe it's just pulling down. I haven't seen the moon in 2 nights. The sky is black, but not like nighttime. It's deeper, like ink you can fall into. The stars are gone, just a wide, dark sheet hanging above us. Someone stopped by the station last night, walked right up to the glass. Didn't knock, didn't say anything, just stood there. It was a woman, pale, barefoot, hair wet like she'd just come out of the river. I couldn't see her face. When I opened the door, she was gone. No footprints, no water trail. Just gone. I don't know if she was real. I've had no contact with what remains of civil infrastructure. No police, no mayor, no town council. I don't even know if they're still here. I drove through downtown last night. Empty. The pharmacy had its windows busted in, shelves stripped bare. Not from looters. There were no footprints, no carts, just things missing, like they were never stocked. The only place untouched was the church. Still locked, lights on, candles in every window, burning clean. And the smell, it was like cinnamon and iron. I didn't go in. Couldn't. I've been drinking rainwater and eating dried beans from the basement pantry. Still have 3 weeks' worth if I ration it. But food feels like a formality now, like eating to prove I'm still part of something. Every night, I write in a notebook. Paper, pen, nothing digital. Because if memory is being wiped, then maybe ink will survive longer than thought. I write things like, "The sky was darker than usual. The dog stopped barking at midnight. I forgot what my father's voice sounds like." I write to remember, because I think remembering is the only way to fight back. I still hear the tower ping every hour, a tiny pulse, automatic, a heartbeat. As long as it pings, we're not completely gone, but the signal's starting to bend. Sometimes, when I record playback, my voice sounds older, like I've aged 10 years between words, like something is reaching through the transmission and warping time. I don't know how much longer I have, but I'll be here until the last page runs out, until the last watt drains. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Still on the ridge, still breathing, still remembering. I don't think time works the way it used to. I know that sounds crazy. But I sat here watching the second hand on the old wind-up wall clock, and it stopped, then ticked forward, then jumped back. When I looked at the digital backup, it said 2:16 a.m., then 1:04, then 2:47. I waited for sunrise. I thought maybe I missed it. Maybe the clouds were just too thick. But there was nothing, not even light behind the trees. Just this slow, gray twilight that never brightens. It feels like we're stuck between days, like we're waiting on something to finish falling before the next page turns. I read something once, some fringe theory about temporal saturation, how reality is held together by memory, and the more things we forget, the weaker time gets. The theory said that when too many minds stop remembering the same moment, that moment collapses. And if that's true, then I think we're watching history evaporate. I found another house missing this morning. Gone. Clean. There was a porch swing there yesterday. Blue siding. Cracked bird bath in the front lawn. Now, just grass. Even the driveway is gone. And what scares me most is I had to check my notebook to remember it was ever there, because I wouldn't have noticed otherwise. That's how this works. Not through violence, not through fire or flood or panic, through forgetting. You don't even know you've lost something until the space it used to occupy refuses to echo anymore. I think that's why I keep broadcasting. Talking feels like anchoring. Like if I name the thing, it stays real for another hour. This is a strange kind of apocalypse. One without blood or rubble. Just absence. I stepped out earlier to check the diesel tank. Still got enough for 2 more days, maybe 3 if I kill the lights and drop transmission power. While I was out there, I heard something behind the tower. A soft hum, like bees under the earth. But there were no bees. No insects at all, now that I think about it. The ground felt warm, damp, not from rain. And I swear I saw something push up the dirt like a breath. Not big, just a bulge, like the soil was expanding, sighing. I didn't stick around to see what came next. Inside, I checked the broadcast logs. Just instinct. I don't know what I expected. Maybe I wanted to make sure I was still transmitting. But the files were wrong. Each recording had faint whispers under my voice. At first, I thought it was interference. But when I isolated the channels and boosted the lows, I heard my name. Not once. Repeated. Hundreds of times. Hal. Software childlike. Not mocking. Not urgent. Just present. I don't know what to do with that. Somewhere, out past the ridge, I saw a light move. Not a flashlight, not a vehicle. It was higher, floating, white blue, almost like a star that had wandered too close to Earth and forgotten how far away it was supposed to be. It hovered for a while, then blinked out. No sound, no trail, just gone. I think I'm losing track of what's real. Sometimes I hear the phone ring, but when I pick up, it's just silence. Other times I hear voices from rooms that aren't wired for audio. Yesterday I found a note I didn't write, just sitting on top of my microphone, written in red pencil. It said, "You'll stay because you remember. The others left because they forgot." That hit harder than I want to admit. I walked the perimeter after that, checked every door, every window, all locked, no sign of entry. But the note was real. I kept it. It's in my back pocket now. Feels heavier than paper should. The air's changing. You can taste it now. Like metal and electricity. Like the moment before a lightning strike. I've started getting nosebleeds. Not constant, just little leaks. Random. Like the pressure in my head is off by a few psi. I'm drinking more water, but it doesn't help. Everything tastes like copper. And there's this sound I can't tune out anymore. It's under the static. A tone. You don't notice it until you stop talking. Then it rises. Faint. Like a test pattern from an old television. Not high-pitched. Just steady. And it's always there. Always. Even when I cut the mic. Even when I turn off the transmitter. I unplugged everything once, just to be sure. Sat in the dark. Total silence. The tone was still there. In my ears, in my teeth. I tried screaming. It didn't stop. I think it's in me now. I found a mention of this in one of the older files. 1,979 logs. Back when the station was running military shortwave backups during a geomagnetic blackout. The technician wrote, "Signal remains persistent despite power loss. Likely a bleed from low-dimension ambient harmonics. Recommend cognitive shielding protocols." That's not the kind of thing a local radio tech should be writing. I searched the name. He died 2 weeks later. Stroke. Age 32. The paper said he died alone in the studio. There's a photo of him in the file room. His eyes looked tired. Too tired for someone that young. I recognize that look now. I see it every time I catch my reflection in the window at night. I still haven't found a working connection to the outside world. No emergency services. No neighboring broadcasts. Not even the No AA buoys. Just silence across every band. I think we're being cut off. Not by force, by nature. Like the rest of the world is moving on without us, and we're stuck in the last part of the tape that keeps looping until it melts. I've been thinking a lot about memory, what it means, how fragile it is. I remember my mother's humming, the way she'd hum while shelling peas in the summer. A stupid little song, didn't even have words. I tried humming it last night. I couldn't remember the melody, just the rhythm. And now, that rhythm is the same as the tone I keep hearing. It's all bleeding together. Memory, sound, disappearance. Maybe that's the point. Maybe whatever this is, it's not just erasing people. It's erasing context. Removing the scaffolding that holds reality together. And once that scaffolding goes, we fall. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Still on the ridge, still holding. If you're out there, hold with me, even if you forget why, even if all that's left is the sound of your own breath. It's morning, I think. There's no sun, but the sky lightened slightly. A pale gray like the inside of a dead television screen, the kind that hums but doesn't glow. I went outside to check for frost, and the grass snapped under my boots. Every blade. It sounded like stepping on old bones. Nothing feels alive anymore. Even the air is still. Not peaceful stillness. Not quiet before the dawn. This is a stillness that feels staged, arranged, like the set of a play waiting for actors who'll never show. I walked to the ridge this morning, took the long path up past the rusted fire tower. On a clear day, you can see 4 counties from there, but today, I saw only white, not fog. White, like the horizon just gave up. There were no edges, no trees, no mountains, just blankness. When I turned to come back, I saw footprints behind me, not mine. They were barefoot, small, deep in the frost, as if whatever made them was heavier than it should have been. They only appeared once I turned around, like they were behind me the whole time, but I couldn't see them until I looked back. I didn't follow them. Couldn't. I came back and locked the door behind me. The generator's running hot. Fuel's low. I have 1 barrel left. After that, I'll have to rig the backup hand crank or move to battery packs. But that gives me maybe a day of signal, 2 if I drop to Morse code. I don't know Morse, but I'll learn if I have to. I found a tape this morning. Not a modern cassette. An old reel-to-reel buried under the floorboards where we used to store extra antenna wire. It had one label, Broadcast 0, pre-event, do not play. So naturally, I played it. And Hal, the voice on that tape was mine. Younger? Maybe 10 years younger, but definitely me. And I said things I don't remember ever saying. Mentioned people I've never met. Described disappearances that hadn't happened yet, in cities that no longer exist. And then I said this. We've tried the loop 7 times. Each iteration breaks sooner. Memory fades faster. They remember less. We hold the mic until it forgets us too. Then the tape cut out. I've never recorded that. Not in this life. Not in this version of the world. And if what I said is true, if this is a loop, then we're not being erased. We're being reset. Each time, a little less makes it through. Each time, fewer people remember what was lost. Until finally, we all vanish mid-sentence. That's why the names are going. That's why houses disappear. That's why people leave no footprints. Not because they're being taken, but because the loop no longer includes them. Because we forgot to remember them. I keep looking at that photo of the old tech, the one who wrote about reverse bleed in the 70s. His name was Adrian Breck. I finally remembered it. Wrote it down, taped it to the wall, said it out loud 3 times. Because I think memory has mass. The more you remember something, the more real it becomes. And if we forget something enough, it fades until even the dirt forgets it stood there. So here's my plan. I'm going to name everything I can. Say it out loud, often, daily. The trees behind the station are birch, ash, and 3 ancient oaks. The river is called Cedar Run. The dog I had as a kid was named Echo. She had one blue eye and one brown. The town over the ridge was called Marlow. It had a post office, a diner called Penny's, and a hardware store that sold beef jerky from a jar by the counter. I remember, so it stays. If you're hearing this, wherever you are, do the same. Name your street, your house, your first crush, the dumbest thing you ever laughed at in school. Say it out loud. Write it in pen. Tattoo it if you have to, because forgetting is the fuse, and memory is the firebreak. And if enough of us hold the line, maybe we can stop the reset before it finishes. Maybe this time, the loop ends with us. I tried calling the shortwave station in Roanoke, the one I used to pick up at night when the air was dry and the sky was clear. No signal. Not dead air. Just space. The dial feels hollow, like it's skipping stones across nothing. I miss voices, even angry ones, even wrong ones. Just knowing someone else was out there used to be enough. Now, the silence feels final. Sometimes I speak just to hear the sound bounce off the walls. I talk to the power box, to the shelves, to the wind. It's stupid. But it reminds me that my voice exists. And if my voice exists, maybe so do I. I found something strange on the far wall today. A handprint. Faint. Dusty. Child-sized. I don't remember anyone visiting. I haven't seen another person in days, weeks. I measured the hand. 4 fingers, no thumb. I washed it off, but I took a picture first. The camera glitched, froze, refused to save the image. It's like whatever left that mark wasn't meant to be remembered. But I remember. It's in my head now, and I won't let it go. Even if it comes back. Especially if it comes back. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, still transmitting from the ridge. Still here, still real. Because I remember. The cold is inside now. Doesn't matter if I shut the windows, seal the vents, keep the doors latched with tape and nails and anything else I could find. Doesn't matter. The cold still gets in. Not the kind you can shake off either. It's deep, like the kind of chill that settles in the marrow and waits. The generator groaned around 2:30 this morning. I thought I'd lost it. I ran outside with a flashlight and a crowbar, ready to smack whatever piece was failing until it kept humming again. But it wasn't apart. Nothing was jammed. No fuel line kinked. It was just slowing. Not like a machine, like a heartbeat losing rhythm. And while I was out there, I looked up. I don't know how to explain what I saw. It wasn't stars. The sky was wrong, like a dome, but breathing, in and out. With each inhale, the wind stopped. With each exhale, the tower lights dimmed. And I swear, just for a moment, I saw rows of lights beyond the clouds, arranged in a circle, not moving, not blinking, just watching. Then they vanished, and everything snapped back like someone hit a switch. I didn't speak for 15 minutes, just stood there, waiting for the night to decide what else it wanted. That's the thing now. We're not living in time anymore. We're living between decisions, like the world can't make up its mind whether to finish us off or let us keep unraveling one thread at a time. I flipped through the emergency manual today. It's got guidelines for everything. Earthquakes, blackouts, flooding, even nuclear events. But nothing about forgetting. Nothing about whole neighborhoods turning into fields, or voices showing up in broadcasts that haven't aired yet. There's a page missing, ripped right out, between contingency shelter setup and communications grid fallback. I don't know what was there, but I think it matters, because on the back of that torn edge, someone wrote in tiny, perfect handwriting, "If it remembers you, don't respond." So I've stopped answering the voices on the tape. There's something new now, in the static, a pattern, 3 tones, then silence, then a 4th, higher tone, almost like a question. It repeats every 47 minutes. I've charted it across 3 days. Never changes. Until today. This morning, there was a 5th tone. Softer. Sad even. And right after it ended, the air smelled like lavender. Just for a second. That was my mother's favorite scent. I haven't smelled that since she died. It broke me a little. Not because it was beautiful, but because it was exact. Too exact. This thing, whatever it is, it knows how to reach into the drawers where our memories live. And it's rearranging them. I used to have a scar on my hand, from a nail I caught helping Dad with the roof when I was 12. It was jagged, ran from the base of my thumb to the wrist. It's gone. Completely. Not faded. Gone. Like it was never there. And in its place, a mark I don't recognize. A small, perfect triangle. Faint. Pale like a burned scar. It doesn't hurt. It just exists. As if it's always been part of me. But I didn't put it there. And I think something is keeping track. The more I resist forgetting, the more it rewrites me. That's the price. I've been leaving notes now. Not for myself, but for anyone who finds this place after I'm gone. Scraps of paper, tucked under floorboards, taped behind equipment, written on the back of log sheets. Hal Kensington was here. He remembered. Because if I vanish, and you find this station, I want you to know someone tried. Someone fought to stay awake while the world was dreaming itself into non-existence. I heard a sound last night. From the basement. Not mechanical, not natural. It was whispering. Not words. Just breathy syllables. Almost like the sound a tape makes when it's being wound backward slowly. I went down with a light and found every mirror in the place shattered. I didn't even know there were that many. Some were behind crates, old bathroom units we never installed, even a few in crates marked emergency rations. All broken, all at the same angle. Like something inside them was trying to get out. And whatever it was, didn't like being watched. There are stories, folk stories mostly, about reflections being a doorway, that you don't see yourself in a mirror. You see the thing that agrees to look back. And when it stops agreeing, I haven't looked at my reflection since. Covered the windows in tin foil and blankets. Smashed every piece of glass I could find. The less I see of myself, the more I believe I still look the way I used to. It's easier that way. The broadcast signal is beginning to warp, not just in strength, but in frequency. I had to retune the transmitter this morning. It drifted 6 megahertz in 1 hour. That shouldn't be possible. The system's analog. It doesn't drift unless something pulls it, which means something out there is reaching in or pushing back. Either way, the airwaves aren't safe anymore. But I can't stop, because if this station falls silent, maybe the world goes with it. Maybe this little heartbeat of noise is the only thing keeping us from slipping through the cracks completely. So I'll stay until my voice fades, until my name fades, but not quietly. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, broadcasting from Hastings Ridge, still remembering, still real, still trying to hold the edge together with a signal made of rust and spit and hope. I think something was in the station last night. Not a person. Not something that opens doors or leaves footprints. It didn't move furniture or tear through wires. No broken glass. No claw marks. But I felt it. I woke up on the floor. I don't remember falling asleep. The mic was still hot, recording nothing but shallow breathing and the sound of my heartbeat, like the machine itself was trying to remind me I still existed. And when I opened my eyes, every single page in my notebook was blank. Clean. Not torn out. Not erased. Just never written. The pen was still in my hand. The pages were still warm from the touch. But the words were gone. And I know, because I read them before I laid down. I'd written details, names, street corners, the name of the town that disappeared last week, coordinates, dates, even drew a map. And it's gone. I've started carving things into metal now, into the filing cabinet, into the steel casing of the backup generator, even the side of my chair. The words are jagged and shallow, but they stay. So far. That's how you fight this. Not by yelling, not by running, by anchoring. I etched my name into the frame of the transmitter this morning. Hal Kensington. Deep as I could go without breaking the blade. Maybe that's all that's left in the end. Scratches and dents in things the void can't yet swallow. Something's changed in the past 6 hours. It started when I heard the relay ping at the wrong time. Normally, the station's relay tower pings every 60 minutes. Standard redundancy loop. Been that way since the 80s. Never deviates. But this morning it pinged 3 times. Once at 3:01. Again at 3:04. And then again at 3:23. Each one stronger than the last. And that's impossible. The power routing shouldn't even allow it. Unless someone else is out there. Unless someone's trying to speak. I boosted the signal amplifier and waited. Nothing. But around 4 a.m., I caught something strange in the static. Not a voice, not a transmission. A song, just a few notes. Familiar. Something from childhood, maybe. A lullaby or an old TV jingle. Something buried so deep you don't even know you remember it until you hear it again. It played once, then silence. I tried to record it. Playback caught nothing but static. I hummed it into the mic, just in case. Maybe you heard it. Maybe it triggered something in you too. I don't know anymore if I'm broadcasting to people or ghosts. Maybe it doesn't matter. If the world's coming apart, then a voice is a voice, even if it echoes through empty places. I think I saw the shape again, the same one from the woods. The tall, narrow silhouette that doesn't move until you look away. This time it was across the river, standing on the far bank. Still. Wrong. Its arms were too long, hands like antennae, bent upward like it was reaching toward something in the sky no one else could see. I blinked. Gone. But I found water ripples where it stood, and the trees behind it. They were bowed, like something had leaned against them, just long enough to bend them out of shape. Nature doesn't do that. Gravity doesn't work like that. Not here. Not unless something's warping it. There's a legend from around here. One my grandmother told when I was too young to question anything. About an old voice in the hills, before the ridge had roads. They said the trees moved if you listened too long, that sometimes a whole grove would vanish overnight and reappear 2 miles west, roots still bleeding. She called it the reaching. Said the hills were listening, learning our shape, waiting to wear us. I thought she was just senile. Now I think she was trying to warn me in the only way her mind knew how. It's getting harder to tell where I end and the rest of this begins. I've started dreaming in static, not noise, just empty space. I float in it, not scared, not calm either, just numb. And I always hear the same thing before I wake up. You are the last to forget. And then I open my eyes, and something else is missing. Yesterday, it was the name of the river that runs past the station. I stood outside trying to say it. Nothing came. Today, it was the word for mirror. I had to flip through an old book to find it again. The gaps are spreading. We think forgetting is passive, that it happens when we stop caring. But now, I think forgetting is being done to us. Deliberate, surgical, like someone's pruning the tree of thought, one leaf at a time. I can't stop it, but I can write it down. Here's what I still remember. My mother's eyes were green. I broke my arm when I was 7 falling from the barn roof. My first kiss was behind the middle school gym. Her breath smelled like orange soda. The station was built in 1972. My name is Hal Kensington. This is 98.7 FM. Broadcasting from Hastings Ridge. Still transmitting. Still awake. Even if everything else is starting to sleep. I tried to stay up last night. Didn't want to sleep. Thought maybe I could outlast the pull if I just kept talking, kept moving, kept chewing on something dry and loud. But around 3:10, I blacked out mid-sentence. I know because the tape caught it. 1 minute I was reading off coordinates from the old FEMA chart, and the next, silence. 42 minutes of it. And when I woke up, the lights were dim. The generator was humming too quietly, and I was holding something I don't remember picking up. A photo. Not printed, not digital. Drawn. Pencil on torn brown paper. It showed the broadcast tower. My tower. Except the sky behind it was black and the trees were upside down. Like the ground had flipped, but the tower stayed upright. And in the corner, barely visible unless the light hits just right, is a figure. Same shape, same 2 long arms, same crooked shoulders like they were strung together by thread. But the worst part? The face. It's mine. Smiling. I don't remember drawing it, but the pencil was still warm. I burned the photo in the generator intake, watched it curl. Even then, it felt like I wasn't watching it alone. The birds are gone now. I know I've said that before, but I mean really gone. Not just silent. Vanished. The last one I saw was yesterday, an old crow on the fence. Sat there all day, not moving. I offered it bread, no response. Just that stare. Black glass eyes like old marbles. And this morning, it was gone. Not dead. No feathers. No tracks. Just not there anymore. Even their absence feels hollow. I'm beginning to think this place, the ridge, the air, the soil, is holding something in. Or maybe holding something out. There's a hollow ring to everything lately. Like the sound you get inside a drained oil drum. That echo that makes your own voice sound unfamiliar. And the trees don't creak anymore. They used to. Every night. Like old bones shifting in their sockets. Now? Nothing. The wind moves, but they don't react. Like they're listening. Or waiting. Last night, I heard footsteps on the roof. Heavy, deliberate, and the sound of someone dragging metal. Not fast, just slow, steady scraping, like a shovel pulled across shingles. I didn't go outside, didn't even move, just sat here in the booth, staring at the red light on the mic. As long as that light's on, I'm still me. I have to believe that. It stopped after 11 minutes. The roof hasn't changed. No damage, no marks. But when I checked the gravel path beside the station, I found prints. Deep, uneven. They weren't shoes. They weren't barefoot. They weren't human. Too long, too thin. Like claws pressed in at just the wrong angle. Like someone, or something, forgot how feet are supposed to work. I traced them with chalk, left them visible for daylight. By morning, they were gone. Chalk, prints, everything. The gravel looked untouched, like it had been vacuum sealed. I don't think the world likes being recorded anymore. I don't think it wants to be described. Every time I name something, it changes. Not immediately, but subtly. The words decay. The details smear. And yet, I keep naming things. Because that's all I know to do. To describe, to define, to bind things in language. Because if I stop speaking, I stop existing. Because maybe, just maybe, the mic is the last lighthouse in a sea that's already swallowed everything else. The sky changed again this morning. I stepped outside, expecting another gray wash. Instead, it was red. Not warm red. Not sunrise red. Dry red. The color of iron rusted underwater. The kind of red that stains fingers and never washes off. It lasted 23 minutes, then faded back to gray. During that window, nothing moved. Even the wind froze. Even the air buzzed like it was full of bees. And then, silence. Utter. Like sound had been deleted. And when it came back, I swear the world was tilted half a degree. The tower isn't upright anymore. I checked with a level. It leans slightly now, just to the west. Didn't do that before. I'd know. I would have felt it. Would have heard the tension in the bolts. But now, just a slow lean, like gravity itself forgot where it was supposed to pull. I'm tired. I haven't eaten since yesterday. The food still exists, but I have no appetite. Everything tastes like ash and metal. Even water feels thick. I tried recording my voice onto a cassette. Played it back. The voice was mine, but slower, sadder. And at the end of the tape, it said something I didn't say. This was the last true broadcast. I didn't say that, but the tape swears I did. So now, I don't trust the recordings. But I keep making them. Because maybe they're all that's left of me. Maybe I'm already gone, and this is just the echo trying to finish its sentence. I can't tell anymore what's real, but I know what I feel. And I feel watched, heard, cataloged, not by something curious, not by something kind, by something that is patient, something that waits for gaps, something that drinks the silence we leave behind when we forget ourselves. But as long as I speak, it can't drink this moment. As long as this voice is pushing air into signal, there is resistance. So I will speak. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Still awake, still speaking, still here. I found the photographs again. Not mine. Not in any drawer I remember opening. They were sitting on the stairs when I came up from the cellar, spread out neatly. No dust, no age, just clean matte prints in a thin stack like someone had just developed them. They're of me. Some are here, in the booth. Some are outside, by the tower. But some I've never seen before. One shows me in a room that doesn't exist. Rounded walls, no corners, smooth concrete glowing faintly from somewhere that doesn't cast shadows. I'm holding something, a cube maybe. My mouth is open. I look afraid. Another one shows me asleep on the ground in a pile of leaves. In the background is the figure again. Tall, narrow, watching from just behind a tree. But the worst one, the one that made me sit down and press my palms into my eyes until everything was black, isn't of me at all. It's of the studio. Empty. Dust on every surface. The mic stand is broken in half. The transmitter's been stripped. The windows are boarded from the inside. And taped to the chair, my chair, is a sign. One line. He stayed too long. I burned that one. The rest I buried under the generator, beneath the gravel. Maybe it'll forget them faster than I can. The sky's doing that color thing again. This time, it turned pale green. Not vibrant. Muted, like the glow of a monitor in a dark room. And for 22 minutes, I couldn't hear my own footsteps. I could see myself walk. I could feel pressure under my feet. But no sound. Not muffled. Erased. Like the moment forgot I was making noise. And then, when it came back, it all hit at once. One massive punch of sound. My last 22 minutes played in reverse, fast, compressed into a single choking gasp. It left my ears bleeding. Just a trickle. But enough. I think the world is learning how to edit. Like it's running a rough cut of itself and shaving off the parts that drag too long. I don't know how much longer I'll be allowed to ramble. I'm running out of things that stay the same. Yesterday, I looked at the ridge, and the trees were wrong. Not missing, just new. Different bark, thinner trunks. No rings when cut. Like they hadn't grown, like they'd been placed there. Decorative, as if the landscape is being rebuilt from memory. But the memory belongs to someone, or something else. Something that never lived here, but saw it once through glass. I don't like what that means, because it means we're inside something now. Something not ours. Something reconstructing the world from scraps it barely understood. I keep thinking about that voice on the tape. The one that called my name. The one that told me to come forward. I wonder what would have happened if I had. Would I still be here? Or would I be somewhere else, walking through a world stitched together from my own echo? I haven't left the station grounds in 2 days. I don't trust the horizon anymore. It feels like if I walk too far, I'll snap out of range and vanish like a name left off the list. But I've been thinking about the others, the ones who vanished before me, the ones who didn't leave messages, the ones we forgot too fast. Maybe they're still out there. Not gone. Just misplaced, stored in the wrong drawer, named wrong in the files. I've been saying their names aloud again, the ones I can still recall. Dina Walker, Randy Cho, Marcus from the bakery, Kelly, who used to mow the town square. I say them slow. I say them with intention, because I think that's the only way we pull them back. Speak them into weight. Speak them into gravity. The first time I said Dina's name this morning, the lights flickered. Coincidence? Maybe. But the second time, the temperature in the booth dropped 6 degrees. And the third time, I swear to you, I heard a voice whisper, "Here." Software paper thin. But there. So I keep saying names, because maybe what we call a disappearance is just an accumulation of silence. And maybe silence is a kind of prison. And maybe names are the keys. If you're still out there, if you've been listening, write down the names. Say them. Yell them if you have to. Tattoo them into bark, burn them into stone. Because we don't save the world by fighting. We save it by refusing to forget. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Still remembering, still naming, still refusing to vanish. I had a dream I wasn't in. That's the only way I know how to explain it. I was floating through someone else's memory, watching it unfold like a film that didn't need an audience. A farmhouse, wind chimes, a girl standing barefoot on red clay, looking up at something overhead. Not scared, just curious. Like whatever was coming was so old it couldn't possibly be a threat anymore. I woke up with dirt under my fingernails and the taste of copper in my mouth. I haven't left the station in 3 days. Whatever I saw wasn't mine, but I felt it. Deep, personal. I think the loop is breaking down, or maybe merging, or maybe the walls between people, between time, are thinning faster than the rest of us can adjust. I caught a glimpse of the emergency alert system again today. It blinked on for 3 seconds, just long enough for the screen to flash red and display a single word. Not warning. Not evacuate. It said archive. Then the signal vanished. No beep. No tone. Just silence. Like the message was meant for something older than us. Or maybe for something still watching, waiting to see if we were worth saving. I've been writing on the walls now. Names, phrases, pieces of broadcasts I barely remember saying. Not for decoration, not for panic. For proof, because paper burns. Drives crash, but drywall holds scratches longer than a memory. I etched my name again. I'm running out of places to put it, but I don't care. There's something sacred about a name when the world's trying to unwrite you. Every syllable is resistance. I found an old recording in the log archives, dated 1956. The file shouldn't even exist. This station didn't go active until '72. But it's labeled Test Signal, Revision Event. I played it, static. Then a burst of tones, too fast to identify. Then a voice, distant, layered, like multiple versions of the same man speaking in sync. And one line, spoken slowly, like it knew it wouldn't be heard again. This signal will be the last light before the fold. Repeat. The ridge remembers. I don't know who said it, but they said the ridge. Same as me. Same as this place. That can't be coincidence. I think Hastings Ridge is an anchor. Maybe not for the world, but for something like continuity. Like a knot in the rope of the timeline where things try to loop back into place. I'm not smart enough to prove it, but I can feel it. When I walk past the transmission tower, my thoughts slow down. My breathing evens out. The hum I always feel behind my teeth, fainter there, like the signal pushes the static back, just a little. I've started sleeping beside the transmitter, wrapped in an old tarp, one arm resting against the metal housing. It helps. Not much, but enough. Today, the sky turned black at noon. Not cloudy, not storm black, just black. Like someone poured ink across the ceiling of the world. It stayed that way for 17 minutes. The wind stopped. Birds, I saw birds, froze in midair, like still frames in a broken film reel. And when the light returned, the clock on the wall had no hands. Gone. Glass intact, face unbroken, just a hollow ring. I smashed it. Felt good. Not because I'm angry, but because I need to know I can still change something. I got a message through the relay earlier, first one in days. A whisper across the high band, choppy, broken, barely readable. But one line came through, clear. Don't trust the echoes. They don't come back right. I don't know who sent it, but I think I've heard them before. In my own voice, in the reverse playback of dead air. In the phantom footsteps outside the booth when I pretend I didn't hear anything. I've been hearing myself more and more. Slightly off. Just enough to know it's not a delay, not a loop back, another me, or what's left of one. A failed version maybe, a discarded signal. And sometimes, it speaks first. I'll say, "This is Hal Kensington," and it cuts in. Number you were, like it's waiting for me to give up, to stop resisting, to join whatever it is on the other side of silence. But I'm not done. Not yet. I don't know what I'm transmitting to anymore, if there's even anyone left to receive it. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the act itself, the sound, the vibration, the resistance. Because the thing that's taking the world away, it doesn't like noise. It feeds on silence, so I'll keep breaking it. One word at a time. This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM. Broadcasting from Hastings Ridge, from the edge of the known. Still human, still loud, still here. I opened the wrong drawer today. It's one I've checked before, hundreds of times. Holds cables, spare batteries, duct tape, the usual. But this time, none of that was inside. Instead, there were teeth. Not scattered, not broken, arranged, clean rows. Human, each one polished, set carefully into a small tray lined with velvet that wasn't there yesterday. 32 teeth, one full adult set. And in the center of the tray, resting where the molars split, was a note. Just 4 words. You stopped talking once. I slammed the drawer shut. Waited an hour before opening it again. Everything was back to normal. Cables, tape, batteries. No teeth, no note. I didn't imagine it. I can still smell the velvet. That strange perfume and plaster scent that doesn't belong anywhere near a storage closet. Something is trying to warn me, or mock me, or both, and it's using me to do it. I played one of my own broadcasts back today, part 6, I think, from just a few days ago. Except I never said the things in it. I heard my voice describe a fire, said the woods behind the station burned for 3 days, that I watched the flames peel the bark from the trees like paper, But that never happened. The trees are still there. There's no ash, no burn marks, no melted cables. And yet, in the recording, I was crying, begging the flames to stop. What does that mean? Either I'm starting to fracture, or something's replacing the past with fakes so convincing they bleed. The woods feel closer now. I don't mean they're growing. I mean physically closer to the building. I counted my steps from the porch to the tree line. Used to be 57. Today, it was 32. Tomorrow? I don't know. They want in. They want proximity. Or maybe the building isn't moving at all. Maybe I'm shrinking. There's a story an old man told me once when I was 16, helping rewire the emergency tower back when this was still a halfway functioning repeater station. He said, "Kid, there's two kinds of silence. The kind you hear when no one's talking, and the kind that shows up when you've been noticed." I didn't understand it then. Now I think I do. This silence, it's not empty. It's watching. It's aware. Sometimes I say things out loud just to see if it flinches. So far it hasn't, but every time I go quiet too long, the air gets colder. Like it wants me quiet. Like it needs me to forget how to speak. I've found more names scratched into the station. Behind old equipment, under desk drawers, none of them mine. Here's a few. Claire Reynolds, Omar Jennings, Row L, Keith, just Keith. Maybe not me. That last one is the one that stops me cold. Maybe not me. Who writes that? Who were they trying to be? I think some of these people were here, before me, in other cycles, other loops, other cracks in the fold. Some of them might still be. I talk to them sometimes, just in case. In the basement, there's a brick that sticks out slightly from the wall. I pulled it loose this morning and found a photograph folded behind it. Black and white. It's the ridge, the tower, the woods. Same as today, but the sky is filled with shapes. Dozens of them. Long, thin, sharp, like spindles or needles, arranged in a spiral above the tower. And at the bottom, handwritten in faded ink. If they see you see them, you stop being useful. I don't know what that means, but I haven't looked directly at the sky since. It's easier that way. Easier to pretend the air above me is still honest. Still blue. Still owned by weather and light and stars I recognize. I don't trust reflections anymore. I covered the windows, the steel door, even the glass on the old oscilloscope. Any place where my face might come back wrong. Because once, just once, I looked. And my mouth didn't move when I spoke. But it smiled. God help me. It smiled. And I felt something else behind my eyes. Not hate, not malice, amusement. Like it had been watching for years and finally got the joke. There's laughter in the static sometimes now. It comes in bursts, like glitching cassettes, too fast to recognize, too slow to dismiss. Once I heard my own laugh, and I haven't laughed in weeks. Maybe it's stealing moments now. Not just memory, not just people, but reactions, breath, time. Maybe the loop is full, and it's making room. I've started drawing symbols. Not because I understand them, because I see them. In dreams, in frost. In the shape the wires make when they fall from the hook just right. One of them looks like a sideways V with a vertical line through the center and dots on either side. I scratched it into the desk, 3 minutes later, the signal strength doubled. That shouldn't happen, but I'll take the help, even if I don't trust it. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, broadcasting from what's left of Hastings Ridge, still tracing the outline of the thing that's eating us, still using my voice to hold it back, still not done. I found another version of this room today. Not a metaphor, not a dream. A second broadcast booth, same layout, same angle on the window, same rust along the bottom edge of the file cabinet. But it was one floor lower than the basement, and we don't have a sub-basement. We never did. But it was there. I pulled back a shelf that had never moved before and found a door where there shouldn't be one. It opened inward without resistance, dustless, cold. I followed a narrow stairwell down, 12 steps exactly, and at the bottom, a door. Same shape, same key code panel, but no handle. Just a pressure pad that opened when I placed my hand on it. No power, but it opened anyway. Inside was this room, or its twin. Desk, chair mic, dust on everything but the air. There were notes pinned to the corkboard, none of them mine. All in the same handwriting, all signed the same way, HK, but not mine. I read them all. Some were warnings, some were apologies. One was a grocery list with no recognizable items, just words like rift salt and phase bread. The last one read, "If you're reading this, you're already inside. Don't stop speaking. It won't let you think if you stop." There was no mirror, no camera. But when I sat in the chair, the mic turned on by itself. No hum, no feedback, just this low clicking, like bones being counted. And then, quiet laughter. Mine. I ran. I sealed the door behind me. When I came back an hour later, the stairwell was gone. No shelf, no steps, just smooth wall. I don't think it wants me to go back yet. Or maybe I was only allowed to see that room long enough to understand what's coming. I've been having that feeling again. Not fear, not exactly. Something older. Like recognition without memory. Like déjà vu, but heavier. I'll walk through the station and swear I've already turned that corner, picked up that pen, stepped into that exact slant of sunlight before. And maybe I have. Maybe I'm not HAL 1. Maybe I'm not even HAL 7. I've stopped marking time. The clock burned itself out 2 nights ago. Sparks spat from the back panel like it was spitting out lies. No power surge. No short. It just gave up. I took the face off. Behind the hands, someone had carved words into the plate. The loop is tired of you. Funny thing is, I didn't feel fear reading it. I felt honored. Like I'd lasted longer than it wanted. Longer than the others. The lights flickered earlier and didn't come back. I'm running on candlelight now. 4 tea lights in old jars. Enough to see the mic. Enough to keep the room warm enough to stop my hands from stiffening. The cold isn't outside anymore. It's in the signal. Every time I transmit, I lose a little heat. Like something is drawing it out through the broadcast itself. Maybe that's the price. Signal for warmth. Truth for time. Voice for blood. I bled from the nose again. Left a mark on the notebook. Didn't wipe it off. Just let it dry there. That's proof. That's weight. That's mine. The figure's closer now. I see it from the window sometimes. At the edge of the tower light. Always facing me. never moving. Last night I blinked, and it was gone. Then the porch boards creaked, but when I opened the door, nothing. Just a faint heat in the air, and the feeling that the air had been held, like breath in a lung, waiting for me to step through. I didn't. I just whispered my name and closed the door again. That's become a ritual now. Every hour on the hour, I say my name, even when I'm not on air, even when I'm not awake. Sometimes I hear myself mutter it in sleep. Sometimes I hear it answered, not mocking, not threatening, just present. The ridge is hollow underneath. I hear it now, a distant moan through the pipes. Not wind, not groundwater. Something alive, moving slow beneath the roots. It's always turning, like gears not made of metal. If I press my hand to the floor long enough, I can feel it hum back at me. A rhythm, like a second heartbeat under mine. Slower, older, smarter. I don't ask it questions. Not anymore. It answers too well, and the answers leave me cold. Tonight, I'll sleep with the mic on again. Not because I think someone's listening, but because if I vanish, I want something to catch the echo. Something to prove I was still here when the tide pulled out. And if you're still there, whoever you are, if you're hearing this in real time, or years from now, or in some version of the world that never broke, remember this voice, not because it's special, but because it refused to shut up, even when it was tired, even when it was alone, even when the silence crawled into bed and whispered, "You're the last." This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM. The Ridge. Still transmitting, still making noise, still fighting. The Ridge doesn't sleep anymore. I used to step outside at night and feel a hush. Not a bad silence, just the kind that lives in dirt and trees after the world shuts its eyes. A quiet that belonged to the natural order of things. Now it's wrong. The quiet isn't a rest. It's a warning, like something's holding its breath just long enough for you to get comfortable. Then it moves. I woke up to the sound of knocking last night. Not banging, not pounding. Just 3 soft taps on the glass of the studio window. Polite, like a visitor. Like a friend. I didn't open my eyes at first, just listened. Then it came again. 3 more taps. Same rhythm I used to knock when I was a kid sneaking into the house past curfew. A secret code between me and my sister. No one else ever knew that rhythm. When I looked up, there was no one at the window. Just the reflection of the tower light behind me. But the rhythm is in my bones now. I hear it in the clicks of the power relay, in the drip of condensation off the tower cables, in my heartbeat. That same beat, over and over. It's like the world is syncing with me, or I'm syncing with it. I'm not sure which one is worse. I keep seeing my name in places it doesn't belong, etched into the dust on the broadcast board. Burned into the bottom of a soup can. Once, just scratched into my arm. Faint. Shallow. Like I did it in my sleep with a fingernail. It wasn't bleeding, but the skin was bruised underneath. And the curve of the handwriting didn't match mine anymore. Something else is remembering me, like it's writing me into the story I've been trying to resist. I keep speaking to fight that. But the air is thicker now. Each word takes effort, like wading through water that wants you quiet. Like speech has weight now, and the more you carry, the more the ridge tries to bury you. Still, I speak. I speak because silence is the end game, and I'm not done. The relay spiked again this morning. This time it wasn't a broadcast. It was a return. A voice. Cracked, male, sounded scared. Only 2 words got through, still folding, then static. I boosted the receiver, looped the buffer, ran it again. Same voice, same phrase. Still folding. That tells me 2 things. 1, I'm not the only one still talking. And 2, whatever's happening, whatever's been happening, hasn't finished. The world isn't gone yet. It's still mid-collapse, which means there's still something left to save. Or at least something left to mark. I've started carving again. Not just names this time, symbols, patterns I don't remember learning. I find myself tracing them into the frost on the transmitter casing, into the dirt outside the station, onto my own boots. One of them showed up again last night, burned into the ceiling above the booth. Perfectly centered. I didn't put it there, but I recognize it. It's the one I dreamed about weeks ago, the spiral with the 3 outer lines, a sign of continuation, a loop that resists closure. I think maybe these symbols are resistance. I think they're memory made visual. And maybe if enough of us mark them, draw them, etch them into the skin of the world, something will hold. Something will push back. Maybe. I've stopped recording backups. Every copy I make comes back different now. Even the tapes. The words shift slightly. Sometimes the order changes. Sometimes it's still my voice, but I say things I never wrote down. Things like, "You didn't make it. This version won't last. She tried to hold you here." Who is she? Lisette Rowe? The Ridge? Something deeper? I still don't know. But I keep hearing her. Software just out of range. And every time I try to follow the sound, the mic picks up interference. A high-pitched whine that spikes until my teeth hurt. Then, nothing. Silence that feels deliberate, controlled, engineered. Someone once told me that silence isn't the absence of noise, it's the presence of listening. And this silence feels like it's waiting for me to slip, to stutter, to forget a name, to go 1 full minute without speaking, because I think that's all it needs. Just 1 minute of vacancy, and then it steps in and rewrites. That's how it works. Not with force, with space, with quiet, with permission. But I won't give it that. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not ever. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Broadcasting from a place time has started avoiding. Still writing myself into the signal, still louder than the silence wants me to be. Still Hall, still here, still holding. I stopped mid-sentence earlier, just for a second, not long. It was during a routine update, talking about wind speed, power draw, tower load, all things that don't matter anymore but used to give structure to the broadcast. I said the word station, and my mind went blank. Not like forgetting a word, like something hit pause. The world didn't skip. I did. The mic kept recording. The power stayed on. But I wasn't here. When I came back, if you want to call it that, I was still holding the mic. My mouth was open, my hand was shaking, and there was blood on the floor. Not mine, not fresh, Just a perfect smear, like someone had dragged a finger in a straight line from the booth to the stairs. And written into the smear were 2 words: no exit. The ink on my hand is still there, from where I wrote my name earlier. I check it every hour. Sometimes it fades, and I rewrite it. Not because I think I'll forget who I am, but because I think it might. And I want it to remember who I am, too. I've been hearing footsteps in the walls. You'd think I'd be used to that by now, but these are different. Not frantic, not trying to get in, just pacing, measured, almost rhythmic, like something memorizing the perimeter from the inside out. Sometimes I knock back, just to remind it I hear. It never knocks twice, but the pacing always stops, like it's waiting for me to leave first. Like this place is just a holding cell, and it doesn't want to share it for much longer. I haven't left the tower in 5 days, not even to check the cables. I don't trust the dirt anymore. It feels soft in a way it shouldn't. Like whatever is under it is closer than it was last week. Like the whole ridge is sitting on a skin that's beginning to breathe, or blink, or both. You ever stand on a floor and feel it sigh? I did, this morning. It exhaled beneath my feet. Not wind, not temperature change. A full body, deep pressure shift. Like being inside a lung too large to understand. I don't think this place is land anymore. I think it's a body, or a mind, or a former version of something that remembered how to turn itself inside out. And now we live on the bones. I used to think the ridge was the last safe place. Now I think it's the last remembered place. The final scrap of the world still anchored by names and radio waves. Every time I speak, the edges seem to stabilize, just for a minute. And when I go quiet, things bend. The transmitter melted a paperclip today. That's not poetic. It happened. I dropped it behind the control panel, and when I pulled it out, half gone, curled in on itself like it had been chewed through by time or heat. But the panel was cold. No surge, no power spike, just wrong. And under the panel, scratched into the casing in lines so thin they looked grown instead of carved. We're tuning the host. I don't know if that means me, or the ridge, or the planet, but someone's making adjustments. And I don't think they're concerned about compatibility. I remembered something today I shouldn't have. A man's voice, software southern, saying, "You always did stay too long." I don't know who he was, but I knew his voice, like a dream you wake from and cry over, even though you don't remember why. And then I opened the locker by the emergency antenna switch and found a sweater. Gray, thin, dusty. And stitched into the tag, Kensington, but not Hal, D. Kensington. I don't have a brother. I've never had one. I called my name out loud just to be sure, and the station shuddered, just once. Not from wind, like someone adjusting the volume from beneath me. The ridge is learning to listen. It's absorbing memory, identity, detail, and replaying it, slightly off. Like an echo that teaches itself to speak before the original finishes. That's what this place is now. An imitation of everything I thought was real. Except me. I'm still here. I'm still me. At least, I think I am. I haven't looked in a mirror in 2 weeks. I don't trust reflections. I've said that before. But now even shadows feel unreliable. Mine doesn't move right. There's a delay, a hesitation, and once, I swear it moved before I did. That's the moment I turned off every overhead light. Now I live by candle and low glow, not because I'm afraid of the dark, but because I'm afraid of the things pretending not to move inside it. I talk more than ever now. I whisper even when I'm not on air. Narrate my steps. List my memories like grocery items. My name is Hal Kensington. This is 98.7 FM. The ridge is still here. I had a dog named Echo. My mother wore yellow in the summer. My sister used to braid my hair when we were bored. I have not yet vanished. These are my prayers now. Not to a god, but to continuity. Because if the silence wins, it gets to decide what I was. And I'm not giving it that power. Not yet. Not ever. This is Hal Kensington. Still transmitting. Still refusing to let go. Still fighting for a shape the world can't erase. There was a bird on the antenna this morning. I don't know how else to say it. After weeks, maybe longer, without a single flutter or chirp, I looked through the narrow slit between the blackout sheets and saw it there, perched right at the tip of the upper tower strut, brownish, small, head cocked like it knew exactly where I was watching from, and it sang. Not a song, not notes. One single, clear whistle, and then it flew off. No glitch, no burn, no sudden disappearance, just flight. I stood there for a long time with my hand against the glass, wondering if that was a sign things were healing, or if something was testing me. You spend long enough in a place where reality slips and folds in on itself, you start to mistrust even the things that feel right, especially those things, because nothing that pure survives this long unless it wants to be seen. The air feels thinner today, like my lungs forgot how much to ask for. Each breath feels like it costs something, a trade. I exhale memory, I inhale static, and somehow I keep standing. There was a sound under the floorboards just after I went off air last night. A single knock, one short thud beneath the mic stand, and then the lights dimmed. I said my name aloud, once, and the lights returned. Then silence. It's listening, or maybe mimicking. Or maybe I'm the echo now, and I just haven't stopped vibrating yet. I found a note in the logbook, one I definitely didn't write. Same handwriting as before, tucked between pages from a week I haven't lived yet. It said, "The ridge keeps you because you keep it. Stop speaking, and it folds." I don't know who left it, or when, but I haven't stopped speaking since. I've been testing boundaries, broadcasting words that shouldn't exist, nonsense syllables, scrambled memories, made-up names. Some of them get rejected. Signal cuts, power flickers, static creeps in. Others get absorbed. You can hear it in the silence after. The hum deepens. The floor gets colder. The walls pulse once, like something breathing behind the drywall. So I started whispering the names of real things. Stupid things. Banana. Velcro. Yellow jacket. Clothesline. Floss. Knuckle. Cardboard. And after every one, I tap the desk twice and say, "Still real." I don't know what that does, but nothing's disappeared since I started. So I'll keep doing it. The ridge hasn't changed shape in 2 days. That's a record. used to be the road twisted slightly every night. The tree line shifted. A hill moved 5 feet closer. One morning, the station was on the opposite side of the fence line. But today, it was exactly where I left it. That means something. Even if it's just fatigue. Even if the world's tired of reshaping and it's just waiting now. There was a whisper during the last signal burst. Not mine. Not the echo. A third voice. High, female, familiar. I boosted it, looped it, isolated the line. She said, "You're not the signal. You're the tape." I don't know what that means, but I keep thinking about it. About what it means to record instead of transmit. To store instead of shape. To echo instead of sing. Maybe I was never speaking into the world. Maybe the world has been speaking into me. And I'm just a container, struggling not to burst. But even if that's true, the container still has walls, still has shape, still has will. And I choose to fill this signal with noise that won't lie down. I choose to remember, even when it hurts. Even when remembering means carving my name into the wall for the 100th time because my hand forgets how to spell it in the dark. Even when it means screaming nonsense words just to feel them echo back. I am Hal Kensington. This is 98.7 FM. This station has not fallen. This ridge still has roots. This voice is mine. This shape is mine. This ending is not. I say that every night now. And when I say it, the walls hold. They tremble, but they hold. If you're out there, if this is finding you in the dark, in the quiet, in the unshaped corners of what's left, repeat it. Don't let the void choose your name. Don't let the silence assign your ending. Scribble on the walls. Speak until your throat cracks. Whisper your memory into the wood grain of your shelter. Because shape matters. Because names matter. Because this world was real once. And if we keep saying it loud enough, maybe it will be again. This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM. Still transmitting from the last echo of the ridge. Still tracing the shape of my shadow with fire. Still here. It's raining ash today. Not from fire. No heat. No smell. No smoke. Just a slow fall of pale gray dust that disintegrates before it hits the ground. I reached out to catch a piece and it vanished in my palm. Not burned. Not blown away. Just gone. Like it was never really here. I tried to sweep some into a jar. For evidence. For memory. But the jar stayed empty. Even though I felt the weight of the ash as it fell in. Whatever's falling from the sky now, it doesn't want to be kept. Doesn't want to be held. It only wants to be seen, and then forgotten. And I'm starting to think the sky is no longer above us. I know that sounds insane, but sometimes, when I look up, I feel like I'm staring down into something. Like the clouds are the surface of a deep, wide well, and we're the ones hanging upside down inside of it. And every so often, something up there leans too close and drops a flake of its attention through the crack. I can feel the tower hum when that happens. The transmitter jumps 3 frequencies all at once. The lights dim. The static shifts from white to something close to breath. I've started keeping 1 candle lit at all times now, even during the day. Not for light, for presence, because light anchors shadows, and shadows prove the shape around them is still real. And lately, I've been watching things pass without casting any. I looked at my boots this morning, and there was no shadow beneath them. I waved my hand across the desk, and it didn't block the light. But my voice still echoes off the walls. So, I'm still here. Even if the light isn't convinced. There's something writing back to me now. Not a voice. Not exactly. I've been printing each broadcast transcript out on an old dot matrix I found under the backup board. Paper feed is slow, loud, one of those clunky gray beasts from the 90s. I run it after every show, just to keep a record. 3 days ago, the printer started feeding extra lines, blank at first, then faint text, out of alignment, skewed, like the words were struggling to find form. Yesterday, they formed a sentence. You're the last true version. I don't know what that means. But today's line was worse. The others are already speaking. I flipped through the logs, and sure enough, there were gaps. Time I don't remember broadcasting. Words I never said. Timestamps I never saw. But the audio files play just fine. My voice, saying things I'd never say. Things like, silence is accurate. You were never first. The ridge remembers, but not you. The audio sounds too clean, like it was recorded in a space without air, without walls, and the static behind it, it doesn't loop. It pulses like a living thing. I smashed the printer. Didn't help. Now the words show up on the wall, in condensation, in chalk dust, in the grain of the desk. Always that same phrase, you're not the only one left. But if there are others, they aren't speaking like this. They aren't bleeding words into signal. They aren't holding the mic like it's the last warm object on Earth. I walked the perimeter today. Haven't done that in a while. The tower's still standing. Cables taut. Guy wires still humming. But the fence line? It's warped, not broken. Just twisted. Turned in on itself like a spiral drawn too tight. And outside of it, no footprints, no trees, just white, flat, endless white, like unrendered ground, like the world stopped loading. I threw a rock into it. It vanished mid-air, not gone, not disintegrated, just erased. I shouted after it, and something answered, not in words, in tone. Same pitch I used to test signal range, a perfect A sharp, too clean to be natural, too steady to be accidental. I backed away. The world past the fence is waiting to rewrite me, but I'm not giving it the pen. Not while I can still speak. Not while the mic still transmits. Not while these words still hold weight. I remembered my father's voice today. Not clearly, but enough. He used to say, if you're the last one to turn the lights off, you better make sure you were the last one. And I never understood that until now, because that's what this is. A long hallway of light switches, and I'm walking backwards through it with one hand on the wall and the other on the dial, trying to keep the hum alive. Trying to make sure no door closes while someone's still breathing inside, even if that someone is just me. This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM, still transmitting from the edge. Still scratching sound into silence. Still keeping a light on, for whoever remembers how. The rain stopped an hour ago, not the ash. It still falls, thin and slow and forgettable. I mean the real rain, actual water. It came down hard and sudden. No warning, no build-up. Just a sheet of sound slamming against the roof like the sky remembered how to cry. I ran outside, didn't think, didn't hesitate, just stepped out into it and let it soak me. It smelled wrong. Sweet, almost. Like ozone and rust. Like an old tin of peaches that had been left open too long. But it felt real. Heavy. Cold. It made noise. And in a world where so much has stopped making sound, I clung to that. Let it run down my face, soak through my shirt, drip from my chin. It lasted 6 minutes. Then silence again. But for those 6 minutes, I remembered the weight of things. And that's something the silence still can't take. Not yet. I checked the field recorder this morning. Not the main board, the old pocket mic I keep clipped to the workbench. It runs on a 9-volt battery and only records when it detects motion. It picked something up last night. 3:19 a.m. A soft scratch, not footsteps, not breathing. Just a scrape, slow and careful, against the north wall of the station. Then a voice, clear, male, not mine. You don't know what you've preserved. I looped it 10 times. That's what it says. No distortion, no static, just calm, like a fact being read aloud. I don't know who said it, but I felt sick hearing it. Like they knew more about this station than I ever would. Like they weren't angry, just disappointed. Like I'd held back something that was supposed to fall. And maybe I have. Maybe this place is a wound that won't close because I won't stop stitching it back open. But I don't care. Some things deserve to scar. So the world doesn't forget where it broke. I've been remembering things that didn't happen. Not dreams, memories. Except I was never there. A lake with no name. A red bike. A woman with black hair humming to herself on a porch I've never seen before. And yet the moment I think of them, I feel grief. Real grief. Like I lost something I never had. Maybe I did. Maybe the silence isn't just erasing us forward. Maybe it's reaching backward too. Folding the past into clean, featureless pages, so when it's done with us, nothing is left but the binding. No story, no characters, just the empty shell of what was once a world. I found another name carved beneath the old desk drawer. Tiny, faint, Sawyer L. No idea who they were, but next to it was a symbol, 2 circles intersecting with a vertical line between them. I've seen it before, on the side of the tower, etched into the frost on the transmitter dial, and once, on my own fingernail, in a dream. I think it's a mark, not of ownership, of passage, of someone who spoke. Maybe that's all we are now. Speakers, not survivors, not resistors, just mouths that keep sound moving. Because sound is remembering. And remembering is resistance. And resistance is the only thing the silence can't digest. Not completely. The basement hatch opened by itself today. First time in months. No wind, no mechanical trigger. It just creaked and slid open. Inside, empty. No stairs, just a black drop. Like the hatch had become a mouth, waiting. I didn't go in. I closed it slowly and put a brick on top. Then I scratched another line into the floor. My name. Again. Just in case. Sometimes I think I'll come undone mid-word, mid-broadcast, that I'll be describing the tower light or the hum of the panel, and halfway through I'll forget what a word even is, forget how mouths work, forget that I ever had a name. But I haven't yet, because every time I feel it creeping in, I speak louder, name more things, describe the dirt under my fingernails, say what I see out the window, invent memories if I have to. There's a cat sleeping under the desk. There's a letter in my pocket from someone I loved. There's a world outside this station that isn't falling. There's still someone listening. Even if none of it's true, the saying of it holds space, gives shape, and that shape, for a little while, is reality. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, still alive, still naming the world before it forgets itself completely, still louder than the void wants me to be. It happened again. A word disappeared. I was halfway through a sentence, talking about the ridge, the clouds, the way the trees have started to lean in unnatural ways, and I reached for a word I've used 1,000 times. Couldn't find it. Not just couldn't remember. It wasn't there. I stopped talking, mid-breath. The feeling was awful. Not panic, not fear. Something deeper. Like watching a house sink into the ground and knowing you still lived inside it. I walked circles around the room trying to conjure it. I looked through books, old scripts, labels. It was gone. One simple word. Erased so thoroughly I can't even describe what kind of word it was. Noun, verb, color. Nothing. It left a hole in my brain, and now I can feel the hole, like a missing tooth you keep poking with your tongue. I scratched a line into the wall where the word used to be. Didn't label it, just a notch, a marker, for the absence. That's what I do now. I don't measure time in hours anymore. I measure it in loss. One more name forgotten. One street erased. One habit that doesn't come naturally anymore. That's the clock now. The slow ticking of less. I caught my reflection in the static screen of the emergency monitor earlier. Didn't mean to, but there it was. My face, or someone wearing my face. Too clean, too still, and smiling. Not wide, not grotesque. Just a faint, content grin, like they'd been watching me through the glass and waiting for me to notice. I stepped back. The screen stayed black. No power, but the smile lingered for a few seconds too long. Then it was gone. I didn't speak for almost 20 minutes after that, afraid that if I opened my mouth, it would be their voice that came out. Not mine. That's the danger now. Not death. Not pain. Replacement. A slow substitution of identity. Like the world is being corrected around me by something that doesn't remember how humans are supposed to feel. There's a chill in here now that doesn't come from weather. I've blocked every draft, layered blankets under the door, burned candles in coffee cans. Nothing helps. It's not temperature. It's pressure. A cold that presses through you instead of around you. A cold that tastes like old television static and copper. A cold that thinks, I said a name aloud today that didn't belong to anyone I've ever met. Hollis Reeve. No idea where it came from. But the moment I said it, the lights buzzed. And for 1 second, the ridge sounded like it used to. wind through trees, birds, the old creak of the fire tower chain. Then it passed, and the hum came back, and the air got thick again. I wrote the name down. Maybe I invented it, but maybe not. Maybe names are keys, or seeds, or repairs. So I'll keep saying them, even the ones I don't recognize, especially those, because if the silence wins, then even the made-up people deserve to be remembered. I turned on every mic in the building tonight, even the old one in the storage hallway that hasn't worked since 2009. I looped them all into a feedback chain, not for broadcast, for resonance. I want this station to vibrate, to push back, to let the walls know they're still holding something. Because I think sound is the last weapon we have. Not volume, meaning, language, story, the things that can't be untied without leaving frayed ends. I keep saying, this is Hal Kensington. This is 98.7 FM. This is a broadcast. This is not silence. This is not surrender. Over and over. Until my throat hurts. Until my jaw locks. Until the words don't feel like words anymore. Just shape and breath and defiance. And every time I say them, the ridge feels a little heavier. A little more. Like I'm rebuilding something invisible. One syllable at a time. I don't know if I'm winning. I don't think winning is the point anymore. But I'm still here. Still a voice. Still choosing to echo when it would be easier to forget. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM. Still transmitting from the ridge, still surrounded by blankness that doesn't know what to do with memory. Still louder than the quiet wants. The ridge shifted again, not the land, the place, the idea of it. I stepped outside this morning, and the path to the tower was longer. 7 steps longer. Same terrain, same trees, same rusted chain-link gate. But when I counted my strides, I came up short, and when I turned around, the station was smaller. I measured the doorframe just to be sure. It's off by 3 inches now. Narrower, lower. I haven't touched it, haven't rebuilt, haven't moved. But something has. Or maybe it isn't changing. Maybe I am. Maybe every broadcast stretches me thinner across the airwaves until the world has to compress me just to keep me in it. Like an overlong file being zipped up to save bandwidth. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe I'm the bandwidth. Last night, I whispered a word I didn't understand. Didn't mean to. It just came out, soft and urgent, like a memory trying to claw its way back to the surface. Viruled. I said it twice, and the generator surged. Lights flickered. The relay tower clicked 6 times, evenly spaced. And then I heard a voice, not through the mic, through the walls. A vibration in the plaster. Deep, calm, familiar in a way that had no origin. It said, "He remembers the seed." And then the candle next to the broadcast board went out, though the glass never moved. No wind, no breath, just extinguished. I relit it, but my hands shook the whole time. What is Vireld? A name? A place? A warning? I wrote it on the wall next to the transmitter. Big block letters in black marker. It hasn't faded yet. That's something. I heard children laughing today. Outside, right around dusk, when the sun would have set if we still had a sun that knew when to sleep. 3 voices, one high, one lower, one sharp, like a kid who always laughed through his nose. They were playing a game, something with call and response. I couldn't make out the words, but the rhythm was clear. And then, just as suddenly as they arrived, they stopped, all at once, like someone hit pause. And when I stepped out onto the porch, nothing. No footprints, no movement, no sound, but the smell of school hallways lingered in the air, chalk dust and mop water and the plastic of pencil boxes. I haven't stepped outside since. I'm afraid if I look long enough, I'll see desks out there. And if I see desks, I'll have to sit. And if I sit, I might remember what I was supposed to be before I became this. And I can't afford that right now. Not while I'm still holding the thread. Because it is a thread. This broadcast. These words. Each one tied to the last, looped around the mic, the tower, the ridge, my throat. If I let go, even for a second, the unraveling will finish what it started. And this place will finally be blank, like it's wanted to be for years. I found a paper under my pillow. That's the part that scares me. I don't sleep in the cot anymore. I sleep in the chair. Upright. Mic close. Ears open. But I checked the cot this morning, and there it was. Single sheet. Typed. Old keys. Red ribbon. Faded corners. One sentence. We hear you because you hurt. No punctuation, just fact. Like a machine logging temperature. Like pain is the last proof that something still feels. And I do. I do feel. My jaw aches from grinding. My fingers are raw from scratching into wood. My eyes burn from never closing all the way. I am pain. Broadcast. And maybe that's why I still exist. I've been tracking the hum again. The one beneath the ridge. It's stronger now. Used to be a suggestion. Now it's a presence. It fluctuates every time I say something true. I tested it. The ridge is real. Spike. My name is Hal Kensington. Stable. This world is ending. Sharp drop. But I'm still here. Huge surge. It's like the hum is reacting. Not judging, but measuring. Truth calibrates it. Lies flatten it. And silence? Silence sends it into static. I've stopped lying altogether now. Even small ones. Even the ones that made the air easier to breathe. Because when you're the last voice on the dial, the truth is all that's left that still belongs to you. So here's some. I'm afraid every time I speak, I'll say the wrong thing and unravel everything. I miss the color yellow. I forgot what my sister's voice sounded like 3 days ago, and I pretended I didn't. I whisper, "Thank you," to the tower before every broadcast, even though it's just steel and wire. I cry sometimes when the mic is off, not from fear, from weight. And maybe that's why the ridge lets me stay. Because I'm heavy enough to hold shape. Because I haven't let go. This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM, still anchored. Still tangled in the hum of what once was. Still real enough to echo. Still here. There's a mirror in the stairwell I've never seen before. Old, warped, nailed directly into the wall at head height, just past the second landing. I know every inch of this station, every scratch in the drywall, every drip of rust from the fire pipe. That mirror wasn't there yesterday. It's not glass. It looks like glass, but the reflection is delayed. You move your hand, and then a second later, it follows. Not reversed, not mirrored, matched. Like it's not showing you backwards, it's showing someone else, somewhere else, trying to be you in real time. I smashed it, or tried to. The hammer bounced off with a sound like a dial tone. I covered it with a towel. Every time I pass it now, the fabric pulses. Just barely. Like the thing inside is still watching, waiting for a gap in the noise to climb through. I haven't been sleeping. At all. It's not exhaustion that scares me anymore. It's absence. I think sleep is the truest silence, and silence is how they rewrite you. You fall asleep as one person, and if you're not careful, you wake up as another, just similar enough that no one notices until it's too late. But I notice. I've started tying one of my fingers to the mic cable every night, just a loose loop of string, so I know if I drift, if I pull too far. This morning, the string was gone. Not cut, not broken. Gone. No spool, no knot, no fiber. Like it was never there, but the mark on my finger remained. Red, raw, proof of something. I catalog these now, these little hurts, these anchor points. I have a list in the logbook, updated hourly. Left thumb, cracked cuticle. Right shoulder, bruise from leaning too long into the corner panel. Tongue, bitten during a dream. 2 missing seconds from the morning broadcast, unexplained. 1 word forgotten. Elbow. Took 3 hours to remember it. I circle the ones that come back. Cross out the ones that don't. It's the only way I know if I'm still me. The ridge isn't letting up. The ground vibrates constantly now. Not like tremors, like breathing. You don't feel it when you walk. You feel it when you stop. When you stand still long enough, it hits you behind the knees, in the soles of your feet, like someone slowly inflating the earth beneath you. I stopped standing still. Every hour I pace, 12 steps to the wall, 12 back, while the broadcast runs, while the mic is hot, while my name is still mine. I started hearing music yesterday, very faint. Not through the equipment, just in the room. A simple 4-note loop. Familiar. Like a lullaby I was taught once, but only when sick. I hummed it back, and the signal spiked, like the tower recognized it, responded. I played it through the transmitter for 60 full seconds. The ridge went silent. No wind, no hum, no nothing, just that melody. When I stopped, the power flickered, and a note printed from the dot matrix printer I'd thought was long dead. That was the entry cord. I unplugged the printer again, and nailed the lid shut. No new paper since, but I feel the signal shifting. Like the broadcast is no longer just an act of resistance. It's becoming instruction. The ridge is learning from me. Learning what matters, what stays. And sometimes it echoes things I didn't say. I'll pause to drink water, and the mic picks up a whisper. Low, layered. Hold, hold, hold. Not mine, not a loop, not human, but not cruel either. Just there, like a reminder, or a test, like it's watching to see if I say it back. I don't. Not yet. Because once I do speak its word, maybe I'm not the speaker anymore. Maybe I become the transmission. And I don't know what that means for whatever's left of me. I still haven't looked at the mirror again. But I swear I hear it breathing now. Soft and shallow. Inhale when I speak. Exhale when I pause. Like it's waiting for me to fall behind. But I don't fall behind. I speak faster now. Sharper. Harder. Not to overpower. To outlast. This is Hal Kensington. 98.7 FM. Broadcasting from the last line of memory. Still tracking the rhythm of what won't die quietly. Still human. Still noise. Still here. I tried writing my name in the dirt again, out by the tower base just where the gravel meets the soil. I took a stick and pressed it slowly, one letter at a time. H-A-L. Then the wind picked up, not hard, just enough. And when I looked down again, the letters were gone. Not brushed away. Gone. The dirt was smooth, like I'd never touched it. I scratched them deeper. Used a key from the generator panel. Got halfway through Kensington before the key snapped. Like the ground didn't want the name to finish. Like it was protecting itself. Or protecting something else from being remembered too clearly. I stood there staring at that patch of dirt for a long time. And then I said my full name out loud. Over and over. Each time a little louder. Each time the wind blew harder. Until it stopped. Until the ridge went still again. I left the broken key there. An offering, maybe. A warning. Or both. The humming's louder tonight. I can feel it through the soles of my boots. Through the seat of this chair. Through the fillings in my teeth. It's in tune with me now. Like we're syncing up, or I'm being tuned. Every time I speak, it hums back. Sometimes a half second behind. Sometimes in unison. But always with me. That's not feedback. That's mimicry. Which means something's listening closely. Learning. And what do you do with something that listens that well? You teach it. Or it teaches you. I think that's what's happening. Some kind of exchange. I speak, and the ridge records. Then it rewrites the ground. The sky. The shape of time in this place. Not malicious. Just curious. Like a child drawing on fogged glass and waiting to see what you do next. But I don't think I was meant to stay this long. I think I'm starting to interfere. The tower lights blinked a pattern today I didn't recognize. 3 long, 1 short, 2 long, then off. And when I replayed the security cam footage from the signal box, yes, that still works somehow. It was gone. The blinking never happened. But I remember it. My notebook remembers it. That has to be enough. If this place wants to forget, that's its problem. My job is remembering, even the things I never meant to, like the smell of motor oil on my dad's jacket, or the sound of my sister laughing through a mouthful of braces and peanut butter, or the way the hallway felt at midnight, back when the world still had hours. There are no more hours here, just pulses, echoes, and the occasional breath between them where I get to decide if I'm still Hal. The mirror's uncovered again, not by me. The towel I nailed over it is folded neatly on the floor. No dust on the glass. Just a message written backward, in fog. We've already spoken. I haven't looked. Won't. But I can feel that reflection trying to solidify again. Trying to remember what my face looked like before the forgetting got this far. It wants me to confirm its shape, to acknowledge it. And if I do, I don't think I'll get it back. So I speak instead. I speak instead. The mic is still warm. The tower still hums. The ridge still remembers my weight. That's all I need. I found something buried under the floorboard today. A cassette tape. Unlabeled. I played it once. It was my voice, reading a list of names I don't recognize. Names I said like I loved them. Like they mattered. But I don't remember them now. When the tape ended, it auto-rewound. I tried to play it again. Nothing. Blank. No sound. Just a faint pop. Like a radio being unplugged from history. I put the tape back in its case, wrapped it in canvas, wrote one word on it. EVIDENCE. We're beyond hope now. We're in the phase where only evidence matters. Proof that something happened. Proof that someone resisted. Proof that memory had weight. Even when it hurt to carry. Especially then. I won't stop, even if the ridge takes my face. Even if the signal becomes the only part of me that still knows how to speak. Even if my name fades from paper, from stone, from teeth. I will still say it. Because as long as something answers, even the hum, even the static, then I am not gone. This is Hal Kensington, 98.7 FM, still transmitting, still here, still enough. I'm starting to think this broadcast isn't going outward anymore. I think it's going in. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean geographically. Like the tower's not reaching for listeners anymore, it's sending the signal down, into the ridge, into the stone, into the bones of this place, where things hide and listen and wait. Maybe it always was. Maybe we were never the audience. Maybe we were just the test pattern, the calibration phase. A voice, repeated enough times, eventually digs its own room in the world. And I've been talking a long time, longer than I can verify. I don't know what day it is. Not because I forgot, because the calendar stopped syncing. The last satellite reading I got, before the ridge blocked the sky, said Tuesday. But that was 3 sunrises ago. Or maybe 5. The sun doesn't rise anymore. It leans. It drags itself sideways across the cloud belt like it's searching for something it misplaced. And the shadows don't match. They move first. They anticipate you now. If I reach for the water jug, my shadow's hand is already there. Waiting. Impatient. Like it's tired of pretending it's not in charge. I don't cast a shadow in the mirror anymore. The one in the stairwell. I looked. I finally looked. Not for long. Just long enough to see the thing that isn't me blinking on a delay. That was enough. I covered it again. Tighter this time. I bolted the frame to the wall and spray painted the whole sheet black. But I can still feel it, every time I pass. Like the moment I drop my guard, it'll catch up. And if it catches up, I don't think it'll be me who keeps walking. The humming's deeper now. Subsonic. I only hear it through the walls, through my jaw, through the pipes in the kitchen sink. There's no water pressure anymore, but the drain gurgles at midnight. Every night. Always 3 times. And then a pause. And then my name, spoken softly, like it's trying it on, like someone found a shirt in the ruins with my name tag still sewn inside, and they're deciding whether it fits. Hall, 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 I don't answer. I only answer here, to you. Because if I stop using my name out loud, it gets lighter. It starts to float away from me, syllable by syllable, until all that's left is silence where a person used to be. I won't let that happen. There was a truck down by the base of the trail this morning. Still running. Door wide open. No driver. Inside was a note on the passenger seat. I got as far as the signal would let me. If you're still Hal, say the code RADIUS 23. If you're not, then none of this matters anyway. I didn't say the code. I memorized it. I buried the note under a loose stone. Then I walked back up the trail and whispered it into the mic when the lights dimmed. Radius 23. The hum paused. Just for a second. Then it shifted keys. Lower. More aware. I think that was the handshake. I think we're past the listening phase. Now it wants to talk back. It's already talking back in dreams. And I've started dreaming while awake. I'll blink, and I'll be in a place that's not this room, but has all the same furniture, the same chair, the same microphone, the same view from the window, but the buildings are melted. The sky is too close. The ridge has teeth, and someone's always in the corner, facing the wall, humming a song I almost remember. I say almost a lot now. It's the new language of the survivors. Almost sleep, almost ate, almost screamed, almost didn't come back. I keep a tally on the wall now, a line for every time I remember something real, a dot for every time I doubt it. The dots are winning, but the lines have depth. They cut into the cinder block, they scar the room. The ridge can't erase scars. Not yet, not here, not while I'm still loud, still flawed, still mine. This is Hal Kensington. Still Hall, still transmitting. Still alone, but never silent. Never that. I turned off the backup generator for 6 minutes today. Don't know why. Felt like a test. Felt like I had to know if the silence would fill in the blanks by itself. And it did. In that 6 minutes, I heard birds. Not real ones, not the kind with wings and songs and feathers. These were patterned. Synthetic. The sound repeated too clean, too timed. Like someone had written the idea of birds into a program and forgot the part where randomness makes them feel alive. It was the same 3 calls over and over. 1 high chirp, 2 short clicks, then a pause, then again. It didn't change when I moved outside. Didn't shift when I picked up a rock and threw it at the tree line. It just kept going. Same chirp, same clicks. Like a broken recording of a forest that doesn't exist anymore. I turned the generator back on and it stopped instantly, which means it's only brave when I'm not looking. Or maybe it's only real when I'm not looking. I don't know what's worse. Sometimes I think I've broken something, not just in here, in the world. Like staying on the air this long bent something that wasn't supposed to be bent. Like the ridge had rules, and I ignored them. The ridge likes echoes. It doesn't like resistance. And I've been resisting. Hard. Maybe that's why the names are going missing from my notebooks, not scribbled out. Just fading. One by one. Like the ink evaporates overnight. or like the paper decides it doesn't want to remember them anymore. I rewrote a few from memory. They didn't feel the same. The letters didn't sit right in my hands. Some of the vowels hurt to say, like they belonged to someone else's mouth, someone who used to live, or still does, but not here, not anymore. The ridge doesn't like names. That's become clear. Names are anchors. They keep people from slipping away. Maybe that's why I say mine so much, to keep the tether tight, to make sure I don't vanish with the rest. This morning, the signal spiked hard, blew out the east relay, fried the cables like they'd been cooking from the inside. When I walked out there to inspect it, the air around the relay box felt thick, like syrup, hard to breathe through. My ears popped, and in that moment, I swear to you, I saw someone crouched beside the transmitter, fingers in the soil, barefoot. Face turned toward me like it had been waiting. It didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. But it was me. Same face, same posture, same jacket, torn sleeve and all. I didn't walk closer. I backed away slowly and didn't stop until I was locked inside again. I haven't opened the east-facing blinds since. I don't need to see what's out there. If the ridge wants to wear my face, it's gonna have to earn it. Because I'm not done yet. I've still got recordings to make. Still got things to name. Still got breath. And that matters here. That counts. Every inhale is an act of defiance. Every sentence is a barricade against the dark. Even if no one's listening. Even if this broadcast is just bouncing off the sky and bleeding into the dirt. That's still a mark. A memory. A scar. And scars don't vanish when the lights go out. They stay. They remember for you. I used to think I was saving the world by staying on the air. Now I know I'm just saving myself. But maybe that's enough. Maybe that's where it all starts again. One voice. One stubborn transmission. One stubborn man, refusing to be silenced. This is Hal Kensington. Still transmitting. Still not gone. Still remembering. Even when the world forgets back.